All right, Nikki, you will remember these bits.
Well, first, welcome to the Worst of Riot.
For
the
Friday.
Final podcast of this week is our final trip back to 2010. There is no podcast on Monday. That's the last day that you're gone. But then Tuesday, we return. Everything's back to normal.
Okay, you ready?
What's in this one?
The
I'm
first
worried.
one is, do you remember me running on a trail and a biker yelling at me and me just starting to yell back at them as they rode away?
Yes, but why did they yell at you?
I was standing on the side and he was like, get out of the way.
Yes, I vaguely remember that. Was it at Sharon Woods?
No, it was up here
Up
on
there?
the old Rails for Trails.
That's in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I began thanking him profusely.
Because you're being sarcastic. Thank you for yelling. That's I know your style
You
when you
remember
do
that,
that.
don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
That's not the first time I've heard thank you, Obi.
Here's what I love. This will show you how old this is, 2010.
Yeah.
Nikki and Nick are stealing cable from their parents. Stealing cable.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, not stealing their logins, stealing cable.
Huh. I think it's because my parents... Yeah, they had cable, and so then I wanted free cable, so I took their login. Well, I did that many years, but they're fine. I mean, I had to help them log in anyways. They didn't know.
A police deputy shooting a deer to put it out of its misery.
Was that my one, or was that one yours?
No, this was in the news.
Oh.
It's such a good one. I don't want to ruin, there's something really funny about it, and I don't want to ruin it for you.
No, I had that happen, though, because I was coming into work one morning, and there was a deer on the side of the road. I pulled over, and we were going to try to, I was asking Eric to take it to an animal thing to, what's the word?
Halfway house where it could...
No, what's the word, if you want to adopt a pet at the shelter? That's it. So I thought there might be a exotic animal shelter, that's not like cats and dogs. So I wanted Eric to put it in the back of the car to take the deer there, and a cop pulled over, and he said he'd take care of it. But then when I pulled away, he got his gun out from the back of his car like a shotgun, and so he was going to shoot it. Put it out of its misery, and I cried so hard because I asked him, I said, can you take it somewhere? And Eric was just shaking his head at me like, she's stupid. Don't listen to her, because the cop's like, yeah, sure I will.
He's like, don't you worry, little
That's how
bitch.
he was.
I'll take care of it.
It was so bad. So I know what that feels like. I know what it's like. Because I didn't want the deer to die. I was so sad. I remember that look on his face. It was like, yes, ma'am.
I like to think oh, she's stupid. Just don't
And
worry.
Eric's just like, get in the car. He's not going to be able to save him. Because I asked him to take it, too. I said, can you take it somewhere? That was horrible.
Oh, my gosh.
There was nothing we could do.
The other thing here is, and there's a video of this. You can find it in our YouTube channel, of us finding a Little Caesars pizza at a Kmart and going to visit for the first time.
Yes, that's when you guys went over.
We're so excited.
Yeah, because wasn't it near Micro Center?
Yep.
And I don't think I went, but you guys did.
You didn't, and that Kmart no longer exists.
And neither does the Little Caesars there.
Well, it's all
They
gone.
tore it all down.
Micro Center lives on, though.
How does Micro Center still make it when all these other things have been completely torn off?
Hey, I just looked at an article in PC World
where
they did a morning launch of the new AMD chip. Micro Centers around the U.S., there's only 10 of them. There were people lined up down the side of the building.
It fascinates me that place can still make money and still work, but it does.
All right, well, Nikki and I have to go do a tour now.
Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you for enjoying the Worst of Riot 2010 year. If you liked that we at least did this.
Did something.
Could you let us know?
It's fine, don't worry.
Do you appreciate the effort? Because you could have had nothing.
Yeah.
As Obi's on vacation. But on Monday, you will have nothing. We'll return Tuesday, though, to normal Worst of Riot podcast.
And you guys can find out if I did have a good vacation.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
One day, a heroic time traveler will go back in time to make sure none of this ever happens. Until then, it's the Worst of the Riot on Radio U.
It is the Riot, 8772 Radio U.
Oh, goody.
I've been transparent with you guys about the issues that I have with my mouth. I don't have a lot of skills, marketable skills, whatever. I am a I'm in the world of talkers. I am a good talker. Now, am I the best? No. Am I the worst? No. Like, I have a moderate level of skill when it comes to talking. But as Nikki and I have told you before,
yes.
when we were younger, this is the thing that got us in trouble. Words like smart mouth, smart aleck, things that's got to get you in trouble. And I never got in trouble for like burning something down or blowing something up. I got in trouble for saying things.
Well, you always get good responses back and
it's right there.
Little zingers, and you can't help it. And before you know it, something's out of your mouth because it's really funny and you don't want to hurt someone, but it came out and it's there.
But with time, I have learned to control it a bit. And most of the time I stay on top of it. I have also learned the need to go and apologize, which I do a lot. I really do. I have to go apologize to people. Yesterday was not good. But I stand amazed and ashamed. That's exactly how I'm going to say it. Yesterday I was out running, and I was out running sprints. Now, I'm training for the half marathon. Sprints are for speed work. And lest that sound impressive, let's be clear that to everyone else on the trail, I was jogging. All right. I was sprinting. They just thought I was jogging. So I'm out there running and it's hot. It's like 90 degrees. It's humid. I'm doing these sprints and stuff. I'm getting ready to start my last sprint. So I'm a little tired, but I'm standing there and I'm like half on the trail. There's literally, this trail is like 5 miles long and you can't see from one end to the other, but there's probably nobody for at least a half a mile on either side of me. I'm scrolling through my iPod looking for my next song, and I hear somebody yell out that they're coming up, which bikers do to runners. And I look up, and
it's appreciated. It's nice.
No, that's totally fine. That's trail etiquette. And so a guy yells out at me, and I was like, "Hey, thanks." And I said, "Sorry." I really wasn't in his way. It's a 2-lane trail. He could have easily just slightly moved over it. Even if he would have stayed on course, he probably wouldn't have hit me. And so then as he goes by, he's like, "Not a very smart place to stand." He yells it at me. And that's when...
Here it comes.
That's when my mind and my body and my mouth became one. And I immediately just began yelling, "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done if you weren't here to tell me where to stand. If you have any more suggestions, please come back and let me know. What would I have done without you? Thank you." Just began. And
while he's biking away?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And how embarrassing is that? Because
it's what you think you want to say, but you said it.
First off, how immature is that? That's so immature, because the thing is that I didn't say something nasty in response. I actually did something far nastier. I mocked him. I began mocking this person, and I didn't even think about it. I just immediately let it fly. And you guys know I'm loud. That. I made sure that guy could hear me as he was biking on down the trail.
Yeah.
And I couldn't work up any regret because I still had to run that sprint. So I ran that sprint, and I'm walking back to my car, and I'm just like, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" And the thing that probably bothered me about it the most is that this means that somewhere inside me is this person that says these things.
This mocking man.
He's in there, all right? And how do we know he's in there? Because he came out, all right? Somewhere inside, when enough pressure is applied and the circumstances are correct, out comes the mocker. And it's just oh, no.
But I think, remember, you'd been running, you were exhausted, you were tired.
It's true. All of that is true.
Your normal wall that keeps the mocker inside.
The control
center
was gone.
Had a little bit of a problem. It's not normally a problem, but it became one. So that's not who you are.
It is. It is. That is who I am. Part of who I am is that I have things that are terrible things, and probably things that are far worse than that. That was probably the mocker that's been shined up a little bit. I probably have worse things in there somewhere. And I have been thinking about it, just man, dude, that was real. That was mature.
Classy.
That's what you want to do.
Listen, though, you know what, though, that makes me so mad is he was, what, in his 50s, the guy that said that to you?
He was an older gentleman. He had no business. He didn't need to say that to me.
Being a jerk. And lately, nowadays, everyone's a jerk to everyone. So you're mocking... You're mocking, though. It's not as jerky, I think, as what he started it.
He did. But you know what? I would have liked to have thought that I was man enough to just say, you know what? That's fine. That's fine.
Why?
You know what? It's not a big deal. I'll let it go. But you know what? That's not what I did. So I'm confessing to you. I got more work to do. I need a change. I need to change. And again,
but maybe he needed to hear that.
I don't think so.
Maybe, though. I mean, what if he goes and does that to everybody on the trail? He's the jerky guy.
That may be. And you know what? Perhaps I should say, excuse me, sir, could you hang on a minute? Can we talk? I'd like to connect as people for a minute. My name's Obadiah. And first off, I'm sorry if I inconvenienced you in any way. However, I don't feel it was necessary for you to speak to me in that tone or in that manner.
See, there, that's nice.
I know. That would have been the right way to do it. I, on the other hand, just decided to yell, and again, not insult him, mock him, which is far more insulting than if I would have just said, yeah, and like yelled something at him.
No, you're like, well, thank you. Whatever would I have done without you?
It's awful. Like, that's just
Why
awful.
weren't you filming this?
I don't know. It's the riot.
Things are never as bad as they seem, except when it comes to the riot. Then they're worse. They're always worse. It's the riot on Radio U.
It is the riot. I'm sitting in a room with Nick and Nikki, and basically the course of the conversation is, how much can I get from my parents for free? Nick's like, all right, so my mom's like getting cable, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get cable.
You have to say this the right way. Nick quit cable about, 2 years ago, year and a half ago? End of last year. And he dumped it, and so he does everything online.
Right.
So that's gone. He had Uverse. And then I'm dumping all my stuff next Wednesday, last day. And then I'm getting rid of my stuff. We happen to be fans of Uverse and their unique approach to our viewing system, to where we would like to go back and still have it, but not have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So his mom's getting Uverse. There was talks of, they have their new iPad app. You could get your parents to get another box or just something, and then you can just get the iPad app and then gank whatever is on their DVR. And then you can watch it from anywhere you're at your own place. Like, say if your parents have it and you're in your dorm, you can still watch what's on the stuff.
Don't turn it into that. Don't make it like how mom and dad can share with you while you're away at school.
You can watch shows together.
Don't turn it into that, because that's not what it is. And then Nikki's actually moving. She's not moving in with her parents, but she's moving in like a couple doors down from them. And Nikki's like, yeah, listen, I've been thinking about a way I could steal cable from my parents.
Well, no, I was thinking that, I didn't say it that way. I was thinking I could sling.
That's how I heard it.
I know you
said
heard it.
Sling. I thought you said steal. I couldn't understand. So,
no, I was thinking, because I'm getting rid of cable, so I was thinking I could sling theirs to me when they're not using it and watch it. Listen, times are tough.
I love it. I just love it. And then Nikki's like, they can share my Wi-Fi.
They are. They're going to have my Wi-Fi.
So she's going to pump out. Here's what I love is the people that are like the 2 or 3 townhomes or houses or whatever you call them between you guys, like, they're going to be getting radiation sickness and all this stuff because you've got these high-powered directional antennas that are shooting these signals through the walls.
Directly through each other.
Like, I don't understand why my head hurts all the time. I don't get it.
That might be true.
And Nikki's like, this is the best.
We have everything, and no one has to pay for anything.
In our house, everything's coated with lead. Nobody's getting sick. But the people in between, I don't know about that.
We're just finding ways to be more creative, to get that.
We're using that new wireless Z standard. It's highly experimental. Causes cancer in lab rats, but you know what? It shoots that way, so we don't really care.
It's hard because where I'm moving, the cable options are just lame. Just absolutely lame. And I just don't want it, so I just don't want to pay for it.
Oh, there it is. There it is. It has nothing to do with not wanting it. It has nothing to do with not wanting it. It has to do with not wanting to pay for it.
No, it's not good enough to pay for. It's not good enough packages.
But it's good enough to get it from your parents. Man, isn't that true? Like, man, you want to mooch off your parents as much as possible.
No, we are assisting. I'm giving my Wi-Fi, so I'm helping. I'm paying for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The $40 a month that it is. I'm sharing.
I imagine you and Eric sitting there in your various opposite ends of the house doing whatever, and all of a sudden being like, hey! And that's from your dad trying to check his email, and it's like, they can't use that much bandwidth. We need to find a way to limit it.
I already checked. They don't use any, so they hardly use it.
You need a QoS router is what you need.
No, well, we'll have everybody, there'll be a priority system of, like, which can take the most. So.
You do understand you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
By IP address. You could make it so your parents could have
only so much.
1K. Like, no, you guys, I don't know why it's so slow. I don't know.
Restart your system. Restart your computer.
Call me later. It's fine. I rely.
I'm sure it'll be good in like 14 minutes, and that's when the show's done downloading.
then I'll help you out. It's the Riot.
You're listening to a morning show hosted by two people who absolutely despise getting up in the morning.
Will you give me a break one time?
The Riot, Radio U.
It is the Riot on Radio
And
U.
yes, what are you laughing at?
Listen, this is not funny, but it becomes funny because Nikki and I have built a large fiction around the following story. A large fiction, all right? There is a deer that, and this is in Florida, by the way, out near, like on the outskirts of Gainesville, I guess, something like that. And what ends up happening is this deer gets hit by a car. It's on the side of the road, and it's still alive, okay? And so the deputy shows up and is taking care of the accident and is just like, okay, look, hey, this deer's still alive. I got to put it out of its misery. Like, what am I supposed to do? And
ready for this? So
he calls back to talk to the sergeant, and the sergeant says, shoot it around its shoulder, which is where the heart is. So you'd shoot it through the heart, it would die. See, I would have just shot it in the head. Done.
Yeah, no, you think that.
And so the deputy ends up shooting the deer, but he ends up shooting it in the stomach. Are you ready? Because here it comes. He shoots the deer 17 times. Not 7. 17 times. And I love it.
He was just hoping he'd hit something.
The deer eventually died. Do you think? And so, Nikki and I...
This poor deer.
This harkens back to about 5 years ago, I hit a deer and it totaled my car. And we had deer stories. People calling in, talking about, hey, you ever hit a deer? Call. People call in. We had a guy that called in that said he hit a deer with his truck one time. And the deer was on the side of the road and still alive, and a guy pulled over to help him, and he's like, well, we got to put this deer out of its misery.
Which you think, all these are nice guys, they're just wanting to do their part, but wait.
So he's standing there, and the guy goes back to his truck and comes back with an axe. And so then he begins hacking away at the deer. He has to hit it with He has to hit it with the axe several times. And so in our mind...
You hit anything with anything several times, it'll die.
In our mind, the deer was on the side of the road, and, he's just chilling, and he's like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Come here. Look, you call my wife, and my
bad, I'll live.
My insurance card is in my pocket. I'm badly hurt, but I think I'm going to make it. Wait, what's the axe for? Ow! What are you doing? Go!
I don't know why. It's just awful.
Imagine this deer on the side of the road. He's like,
hey, it's just a flesh wound, okay?
Help me. Wait, what are you doing with that gun? Oh!
17
my
times.
Stomach. What are you? Ow! Gosh! What are you doing? Oh my gosh! He shot me 3-4 times now. 5 6. He's reloading. I mean, 17 times
down here.
he would have to reload. Depending on what he's carrying, like maybe twice. The deer's just sitting there. He's like, oh, dang it. I got to go back and get my spare magazine here. Okay. Now hold still.
And the deer's like, no, he can still save me.
17 times he shot the deer. 17 times.
Poor deer.
Oh, yeah. They say, well, you know, forget about the deer, Nikki. The deputy's very upset about it.
Well, he had to kill it.
Yeah.
I think what started off as good intentions went really bad when he just didn't know where to shoot.
They said the sheriff's department says that they are now going to begin training them on how to properly put animals out of their misery because he didn't know
This one failed.
what else to do. It's not funny. It's not. This is not funny. The incompetence and the just like, but the dadgummit, I'm going to get this thing and I'm just going to make it happen. Now, look, it took me a while, but I finally killed that thing. I shot it in the stomach 17 times. What are you thinking?
No, that makes me wonder, on the 16th bullet, was it still alive to where he had to go shoot it again? Or was he just firing away and not paying attention?
I've lost count. Start picking up the shells. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But to us, anytime I see a deer on the side of the road, anytime I see anything that revolves around a deer, I think, oh, thank God you're coming. Listen, I'm going to live. But what are you doing?
What are you doing with that axe? Ow!
Hey, so what do you think of Obadiah?
The truth is, he's not a very nice person.
Okay, well, what about Nikki?
The very best there is.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Today's my birthday, and so, I'm taking time to think back over my life, pondering things. No, actually, last night I got a splinter. Have you ever had a splinter?
Yeah, like in your hand?
Yeah. Doesn't hurt that much to take it out, does it?
It can. It depends on how deep it is.
Depends on. See, like I've gotten to the point now to where I just start cutting my hand up till I get it out.
Well, it helps. Like you can put a little ice cube on it or something, like freeze the area and just start digging.
Nah, see,
it also depends on how sharp your tweezers are.
I just get a knife and just start hacking away.
It's because you're a real man. You know that? That's what you are.
Then you just pour a bunch. I don't go for peroxide either. I pour alcohol.
You know what? Just pour some gas on. Just light it up, and then it'll burn right on out.
I never thought of that. It's wood. It would light on fire.
I'm sure it'd light before your finger would.
And then I would be done.
Poof.
Man, Nikki,
I am not condoning that. That is not what you do.
You just blew my mind.
Right.
All right, now, next time you get one, let's try it on you.
Let's see what happens.
Let's try it on you.
A little lighter underneath it.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it this time. I remember, dude, getting a splinter. And do you remember being like a little kid and getting a splinter and your parents were like, we're going to get it out. And you're like, no! Like really? Just
really upset?
Just let your parents know that you didn't want the splinter to come out? Does anybody remember doing that? No?
Maybe not as intense as you.
Well, I have a gift. I'm a communicator.
Your parents must have hated anything like that.
I'm a communicator. I tell people how I feel, and I express things. And like a splinter, big deal. They just get it out, but like you're a kid, and you're just... I mean,
I'd rather have it there forever.
We're kind of glad our parents dug the splinters out because otherwise we'd be missing fingers at this point. They get infected, you end up having to cut them off or lose your hand, that kind of thing. It's funny, but as a grown-up, you don't think that. You just dig it out and you let it go. I want you to know this right now, that there are lots of people within the sound of my voice. You've heard me talk about God lots and lots of times, but like a child with a splinter, you're like, ah! And you're running away from God because the idea, you're already wounded, but the idea of opening up to somebody with this wound and allowing them to dig around in there sounds way too painful and you refuse to do it. The difference between being a kid and now is that now the splinter's got to come out and your parents used to force you to dig it out. God's not going to do that. God's leaving you with an option. You've got something in you that needs to come out. You've got a wound that needs to be healed. And you know what? It's going to hurt for about half a second, you big baby.
And then it's gone.
But instead, what do? You pull an Obadiah splinter removal expression. You begin screaming and running. Cut it out, dude. Man up, woman up, grow up. Let God get in there with some tweezers. Get this thing taken care of so he can start healing you up. It's no big deal. I mean, he can do this right now. Or you can keep running and embarrassing yourself. Your call. If you want to have a relationship with God, it's pretty easy. You just say, Jesus, come into my life. Fill me with your spirit. I have got this thing. Please help me take care of it. Dude, God will. And I promise you, I'm telling you, you're way more afraid than you are in pain. I guarantee it. Bottom line, 877-949-HELP is the number for the helpline. You can call them later tonight.
I would like to see how you'd act, really, if you had a splinter right now.
I'd be asking for some tweezers. And I might cry just a little bit.
Would you scream for the tweezers?
Maybe. It's the Riot.
If you're looking for all the funny moments you missed during the riot, we apologize. You won't find them here. There weren't any. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
While we're talking about expensive things and the raising prices and et cetera, let me tell you that yesterday I experienced something that was actually the opposite.
Not a price went down.
No, listen, this should tell you something about the quality of the item that I purchased. I purchased a large pizza for less than the price of a drink at Starbucks.
It is so sad. It is so sad.
We went to Micro Center yesterday, and
which is a computer franchise.
Right. So we go down there, and on our way there, the discussion begins, where are we going to eat? And then it was like, well, let's go to Little Caesars. And I'm like, really? Little Caesars where? And inside Kmart. First off, this Kmart looks like it's in the former Ukraine. Like, there are weird lights. It's filthy. All the stuff that they're selling, it's like they haven't gotten new stock since like 1992.
And I love it because it's not Kmart commercial Kmart like you see on the commercials.
No.
Like, it's like when you see Walmarts like that. It's not that. It's the thing that Kmart forgot.
Yeah, it's like it technically is no longer part of the Kmart Corporation. Somebody bought it and they just didn't take the sign down.
Yeah.
And it's a big front for some money laundering organization. I don't know, but it's crazy. So we go back down the filthy floor, stepping over the stains, the light bulbs with that harsh light where it was just unbelievable. And from the miserable person behind the counter, we find out that on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, a hot and ready is not $4.99. It's $3.99.
It's too cheap.
Eric and I split a large pepperoni pizza. Each of us had to pay a whopping $2 for this pizza.
Yes.
And check this out. I also got a hot pretzel with some cheese dip and a soda. All of that for less than $5.
Aren't you worried about that? Like, isn't there supposed to be some sort of low bottom amount that you shouldn't go under for food?
Nikki, here's the thing, all right? Over the years, the cost of the ingredients in pizza have gone up. But unlike other businesses, Little Caesars has decided to absorb the costs and not pass it along to you.
I just think that maybe the company, like, that's the old pizzas that were still there, and that's why they were on discount.
I'll just say, like,
they come back all proud and happy, like, I ate for $3. I ate a large pizza, and it's like, you could be too cheap with food there. It could be too low.
That was part of the excitement. Was it was just like,
were you going to die?
You know, here's what it felt like. Think about it more like this: Chernobyl. If there was a cave,
after the years after, and there's still some sort of problem with the area.
20 years later, Chernobyl is there, still leaking a little radiation. But if you're willing to go down to the Kmart that's inside the no man's zone, you can get for yourself, some very inexpensive pizza. And that's kind of where we went. There was a nuclear meltdown, and all the people that work there know they take their life into their hands every day. And here comes three idiots from RadioU like, we heard that you had some cheap pizza.
Oh.
Dude.
First, I'm glad I did not go. I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut.
Now, listen, you would not have gone.
No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have gone in.
I know that's what I'm saying.
No,
it's
too gross.
We could have never taken Nikki there. She would have been like, forget about it.
Why wouldn't you be like that?
Well, because men can do things like this. You can walk in and you're just like,
You know what? I'm sure that stain on the wall was there when you guys moved in.
It's not your fault.
That's not it. It's no big deal.
Was the pizza good?
Yeah.
Like $3 good or like $20 good?
Well, first off, it obviously couldn't have been $20 good.
No, like it tasted like it was more money.
Here's what I think. I think it tasted like a $7 pizza.
Oh.
It wasn't as good as, say, like there are franchises that are throwing pizza away for like $8, $9 a piece. It was not a $12, $14 pizza, but it tasted better than a $4 pizza. The part that's probably the scariest is that if I had taken the $4 Eric and I paid for it and gone into the store somewhere, I could have never made a pizza for the amount of money that we had.
I'm so worried.
Where did they get those ingredients? What was it actually pizza? Was that cheese or was it melded plastic from the toy aisle? I don't know. They made it taste like cheese. You can see some of the pictures if you want. I posted at least one with me and the icy polar bear. It was awesome. That was the thing, too, is it was like going into that little food area. There's a ton of food that I haven't seen since I was
food went to die.
I haven't seen this food in since I was 5 years old. And you're like, hey, they have ices. I didn't even know they made that. And it's like, well, they don't, but
we still have a stock.
They're still selling out their supply. It's like, oh, well, give it here. I'll try it. How bad can it be? Now, see, this is the ugly side of paying a lot for coffee. Then you've got Nikki, who's willing to pay for quality ingredients. And then you've got me that's
I insist I'll pay.
It's like, hey, how cheap can you make this? Huh? Well, this is the good cheese. You got any used to be good cheese? Once was good, but now it's something else? I'll take some of that. Is it a discount?
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.